One of the most valuable exercises I did in learning social skills was taking the assumption that everyone I met was interesting, and it was my job to find out how. Now, this is very different from the common advice of just ask people about themselves. Because if you're just asking someone about themselves and what they like to do, you're going to run through a series of really common questions everyone's kind of bored of answering. And it's probably not going to be that engaging for you unless you happen to share some kind of interest. And they will most likely pick up in your lack of engagement in the conversation, even though you're asking the questions. And this is going to create a sort of like cognitive emotional dissonance that becomes uncomfortable and makes people want to leave. Plus, what happens when you run out of questions and you haven't yet gotten to a real conversation? Shifting your approach from just asking questions to finding out how they're interesting solves all of these problems. Because instead of asking these kind of standard polite questions that you think they want to talk about, you ask about the things that connect to what you want to talk about. And what this does is naturally uncover a mutual interest between the two of you. This also makes you more likely to add to the conversation rather than just asking questions. Because as you're looking for things that are more interesting to you, you're going to feel more compelled to share things. And as much as people do love talking about themselves, they don't want to be the entirety of a conversation. So you actually adding things into your questions makes them more interested and more likely to want to answer them. The last thing it does is inherently move the conversation slightly deeper, because something we all intuitively know but always seem to forget once we're talking to someone is that people are not that different. The things that we want out of our hobbies, our work, and all of our aspirations are fairly similar. If they're not the same, they at least rhyme. So as you're looking for connection points between you and them, which are going to be the things that you will find interesting, you are naturally going to move the conversation to deeper levels because that's where you're more likely to be connected. So if you want to get really good at having a conversation with just about anyone you meet, just assume they are interesting and make it your job to find out how.